And here in the News 19 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Efren Afante. You can see the overall scope. There is a lot of precipitation that's falling now from North Carolina into South Carolina, but the biggest one is still moving through central and southern Georgia, and that still has to head in our way. As the temperatures are undoubtedly cold enough, and these cold temperatures are going to continue through the next several hours and into mid to late tomorrow morning. But we're looking at the temperatures bottoming out anywhere from 14 to 15 degrees to nearly 20 degrees. The wind chill, though, even though the winds will be relatively light, you're still talking about wind chills that'll be 10 degrees above zero to maybe 15 or 16 degrees. So absolutely no doubt, just to prevent your pipes from freezing, drip the water faucets. I tell you, after hearing it over and over again, I understand now why. I'd rather have a $20 extra on my water bill than a $5,000 repair bill. So we still have a cold weather advisory for all of the Midlands. Again, the temperatures are expected to plummet down into the 20s and even teens, and that'll just be the air temperature. The winter weather advisory still is in effect for Edgefield, Saluda, Newberry, Fairfield, and Kershaw counties until 9 o'clock. Most of these locations may get accumulations of snow of up to and maybe slightly over an inch. But the winter storm warning, it covers Aiken, Bamberg, Barnwell, Orangeburg, Lexington, Richland, Calhoun, Clarendon, Sumter, and Lee counties. These locations, especially as you get towards I-95, accumulations could be up to 2 inches, if not more. I will take a look at the totals in just a moment. That's why we're looking at the very likelihood that the snow is going to continue until at least 2 o'clock in the morning for our communities. But as the snow starts accumulating and really starts building up on the roadways, and that's probably going to be well before midnight, that these roads will be slick and hazardous, especially roads that are usually not treated or not going to be treated at all from either the state or the county. Now, the overall scope is that the heaviest band of snowfall, or the heaviest concentration of precipitation, right now is falling in the areas along I-10 from the Texas Panhandle into extreme southern portions of Georgia. Meteorologist Brianna Murray was showing me pictures in Pensacola. If you know the area of Pensacola in the far western portions of the Panhandle, some areas, and only about maybe half a mile from the beaches, 9 inches. 9 inches of snow in Pensacola. In fact, there are many reports from the Mississippi Delta all the way across I-10 and all points into Alabama, southern Mississippi, as well as the Florida Panhandle, have broken records of snowfall totals. The smallest I've seen so far is up in the Biloxi area, where they've gotten 5 inches of snow. Further west, Lake Charles, Louisiana, if you know that area, believe it or not, they had a blizzard warning earlier this afternoon. But the scope of it is that with all the winter storm warnings, those are going to be the areas that are going to be looking at the most snowfall totals. And yes, it does cover a good portion of the Midlands and everything down to the south. There have been earlier this evening reports of either sleet, freezing rain, snow all along the South Carolina coastline, from Horry all the way, from Myrtle Beach all the way down to Charleston and even down into Beaufort and Hilton Head. Meanwhile, everybody that's pretty much from I-95 and all the way to at least portions of the upstate has been nothing but snow. The air is just way too cold. Snowfall totals, this is what's really interesting. In our Midland communities, these are estimates, but this is overall. The estimates are maybe 1/4 of an inch or less of snowfall total. You get along the central Savannah River area, and now we're getting to about 1/2 inch total. Move over further into Georgia. Now you can see that from the Atlanta metro, maybe a little bit over 1.5 inches, and then as you go down I-16, heading down from Peachtree City down to Macon, Georgia, even in just west of Vidalia, you're talking about estimates 2 to 3 inches of snowfall, and that is a snowfall that is heading our way. As we get to about 10 to 11 o'clock, the entire band of heavy snowfall is already in the areas along and south of I-20 all the way to the South Carolina coast. But notice to the north of I-20 in the Midlands all the way to the upstate, by 10, 11 o'clock, snow's done. That's it. Not going to see any more snow. very quickly moving. We're talking about 2 to 3 o'clock. Now the Midlands are cleared out, and before sunrise, the whole coast is cleared out. How much snow are we talking about? If you've watched us all throughout the evening, these numbers have been bouncing up and down. So again, there's a possibility along the South Carolina shores and coastal inland that they could see upwards of about 6 inches of snow. Go further inland, well, you're talking about along I-95 and points west, maybe 2 to 4 inches of snow. And then along I-20, possibly an inch at most. And then to the northwest, especially going to the upstate, maybe a trace. Keep that in mind. Our snow here in the Midlands, again, 10 o'clock or so, that's when the snow is going to shut off north of I-20. And then as we go to the next few hours heading after midnight, the snow starts tapering off towards I-95, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, that's it. The snow is done. The estimates of how much more snow we should get, again, the computer models have now flip-flopped again. So the Northwest Midlands, even though you've had snow, you may not get as much accumulation. I doubt that it's going to be zero. For Saluda, Newberry, and Fairfield County, I do expect at least a trace or enough of a snowfall that it'll be dusting on the grasses, maybe even on the roadways. But a zero, I'm not buying that at all. Now, along I-20 on both the north and south side, so within 40 or 50 miles of the interstate, even though it's showing less than half an inch, I'm going to speculate that we'll see at least half to an inch of snow accumulated for Aiken, Lexington, Richland, and most of Kershaw County. You get into Lee County, it's going to be a half and a half, pretty much from Highway 31 and points east. I'm expecting it to be a little bit more than an inch and a half, and then Lee County, west of Highway 31, probably closer to, but no higher than an inch. Then you get further down into most of Sumter, and then Calhoun, and then the central and western portions of Orangeburg County. Could see upwards of 2 to 2.5 inches of snow, maybe 3, and you go further south in those counties. And then central, eastern Orangeburg into Clarendon County. If you recall, a couple hours ago, that was showing 4.3 inches, and that's drastically dropped. I still think, though, that in many areas of central, eastern Orangeburg, and pretty much a good chunk, if not all of Clarendon County, could see upwards of 3 to approaching 4 inches of snow. At those heavy bands that we're expecting coming out of Georgia, make that line more towards I-95 as opposed to I-20. These totals are going to be underdone. So either case, for Orangeburg, Southern Calhoun, and Clarendon County, you're going to get the biggest totals of snowfall when all this is completely done. And it's not going to go anywhere because as we wake up tomorrow morning, you're looking at low temperatures in the 20s. That's going to be the air temperature. And the skies are going to be clear. Keep in mind, even though we'll have that snow, by the morning the skies are going to be sunny. It is not going to, that sunshine is not going to be able to melt a lot of this at all because the temperatures are going to be, for all intents and purposes, the temperatures that'll be above freezing tomorrow are probably going to be in the tune of about 6, maybe 5 hours total anywhere in the Midlands. So anything that didn't melt is going to stay frozen. Anything that did melt will refreeze. Let's look at our morning temperatures. 17 possible Thursday, still in the low 20s Friday and Saturday. However, with a lot of sunshine that we're expecting after all this is done, Wednesday afternoon, sunshine, now we're probably not going to melt that much. Thursday afternoon, sunshine, maybe we'll melt a little bit more, but the air becomes very dry. So by Friday, anything that's on the ground, Friday afternoon, will start melting and evaporating quickly, especially with the afternoon temperatures getting a little bit warmer. Bottom line is that the snow is here. It's going to continue for several hours. The timetable, again, for all of our Midland communities that'll be north of I-20, that snow should start tapering off by 10, 11 o'clock. And then everyone between I-20 and I-95 going from west to east, the snow should start tapering off probably as we get towards midnight to 2 o'clock. And then everybody along and east of I-95, that snow will be ending probably no later than 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Bottom line, we've got the snow, and there's a lot more coming out of Georgia, and that heavy band that's from Macon all the way just west of Savannah, all of that has to make its way up between I-20 and I-95, so we are not out of the woods yet. We're going to continue to track all of this as it continues to move to the Midlands. So keep it here on News 19. We'll keep you advised.